after all the dust has settled, we're going to be able to determine who's number one once again.
Yeah, this is going to be the mother of all grudge matches. The one match that I think everyone wants to see, Divine Mind versus the Chiefs. And Divine Mind's always kind of lived in the shadows of the Chiefs, but now there's been so many roster changes that basically everyone on both of these lineups has been on either one of these teams at some point. And with this new Chiefs roster, it does look very strong. Madsy and Slayz performing very well, excuse me, but we are going to highlight Divine Mind. We have Pips. He was putting up massive damage in the games earlier on, and Swayz, he was just styling on everyone. Clips galore from him. So Divine Mind, they've definitely got something to prove. Raider giving us some insight into the world of the roster mania, and you know, he gave us a little bit of the juicy goss, but it wasn't the full spice. It was just, you know, there's only like 1.5 chilies out of the 5 chili scale. So, you know, hopefully we can delve deeper and find out a little bit more of the juicy goss behind all of those roster changes.
We can't put the players on blast here, mate. We got to give them some respect.
Nah, blast them.
We got to leave them be. You know, if the roster mania wants to continue here, it gives us some content to talk about on the desk. That's all I'm saying about that stuff. As long as we get to see the best kind of Halo every single day, hey, I'm going to be a happy little camper. But on the other side of things, Hoots, another team that did come out on top, I feel like from this roster mania has been the Chiefs. They went 50-50 from old Divine Minds and the Chiefs with Barcode going to some mysterious lands of wonder. And now we're looking at this roster and it feels like Madsy has been absolutely unchained. He has been dropping some big numbers. Slayz went for a 25 kills on a Slayer as well. So it feels like both these two members from the previous Chiefs roster have been kind of let loose.
Yeah, the Shark's definitely out of the cage when it comes to Madsy. And look, I'm getting a bit old, you know that, Luke, and so I'm trying to cast my mind back even just a few series to try and remember which team out of the Chiefs and Divine Mind were more dominant in their opening series. And to be honest, they were both super impressive. So, you know, we tried to make a prediction in the last series, which you were happy about, but for this one, I just honestly couldn't tell you which way it's going to go because both teams were so dominant to begin with. It's going to be going to be a hell of a series, and being best of 5, I'm not surprised if this goes to at least to a game 4. I don't think it's going to be a 3-0.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be disappointed if this was a 3-0, and I think, you know, casting our minds back a little bit, I would probably maybe give a small advantage to Divine Minds, considering that stronghold they had was a pretty big blowout, considering the competition they had as well was kind of an interesting tale for that one. And I think looking at this is going to be super exciting for us to see where all these teams are going to sit, especially when we have a look at the maps here, Justin, because this is where we get to see the tale of how the series is going to pan out and which teams need to put more emphasis on earlier maps. We're guaranteed a King of the Hill, but starting out here on Oddball Live Fire, this is going to be a real test of both these teams to really keep that team cohesion going and understanding where they want to play, how they want to play, what times they want to keep slaying out, what times they need to play around the ball.
Yeah, I was thinking the first game was going to be like super scrappy, as you know, they finally get a chance to go at it in a tournament setting. But Oddball with the round-based system, it kind of, you know, hit the reset button a little bit, and it kind of forces you to play composed, or you just lose out completely. And speaking of composure, I mean, if you wanted to make a prediction between these two teams, yes, there's been some roster shuffling, but the Chiefs, I mean, Madsy and Slayz they've still been together. Slayz did play with BZIIRK on Divine Mind, and then even Madsy and BZIIRK, they've teamed together multiple times throughout their Halo careers. So in an objective game type like Oddball off the rip, I would probably put my chips down on the Chief of having a little bit more team cohesion going in, and then you have the plucky Divine Mind doing everything they can to put up a good fight. But it should be an interesting series. I don't think we're going to see a clean sweep. I think it's going to be a bit of a back and forth.
Yeah, I think this is probably going to be one of those series where we see each one of these teams just take a map, you know, alternating one or another, much like we did with Final Form and the Direwolves. But lads, we're in the here and now. We're in the Chiefs versus Divine Mind. Winner of this goes into the grand final with a full series advantage. Lads, let's jump into game number 1.
Appreciate it, Luke. And Justin, one thing that's also worth talking about, though, is with Pips being, you know, playing on Chiefs for such a prolonged period of time and now being back on Divine Mind, he brings a bit of intel to the Divine Mind squad as well, I think. He's moving over. He's played with Chiefs, at the highest level overseas. And so he knows some of the ways that these boys like to play. Obviously, the Chiefs lineup has changed somewhat, but there'd still be some overarching strategies there that they are trying to employ across these game types. So don't discount the kind of intel that he can bring to this matchup. I think he's going to be one who we might see, moving around the map, acting like he knows a little bit more than maybe some of his teammates do.
Yeah, potentially, Hoots. I don't disagree. And something interesting that I've kind of been thinking about in my pink squishy brain is that BZIIRK going on to the Chiefs, he's a very outspoken player that likes to play how he wants to play, and it's whether or not that lends to how the Chiefs guys, Madsy and Slayz, want to play. You bring in BZIIRK, and is he going to be a team player about, the vision for the squad, or is he going to try and take over that team leader position? So it'll be interesting to see, but we are jumping around POVs, that opening stretch, very scrappy off the start there. Beastn getting in the faces of a couple of players down bottom mid, doing well not to take a lot of damage and outputting quite a bit himself. Swayz is caught out there, and now Beastn rewarded with that sniper rifle. He's got 8 bullets to play with here, Hoots, and Madsy, he's got that ball in hand. They're already going to be racking up some points.
Yeah, Madsy out to 2 kills already and racking up the objective like we saw before. I got to appreciate production at the start, keeping that high view camera over the sniper rifle. Unfortunately, none of the players wanted a bar of it. No one wanted to touch it, so Beastn was able to pick it up pretty much uncontested. He's starting to take shots now. Manages to pick up a beautiful, what was pretty much a no-scope, borderline. It was a quick scope there, is dropped, but the fire did come in on him pretty quickly, so he wasn't able to do a huge amount of damage with that snipe. Madsy dropped with the heat wave as well there. 24 seconds though, so a strong start for the Chiefs to get this ball into garage here, start to hold it, but Swayz doing a bit of work here, keeping the Chiefs off the ball. He's dropped, so just chaos ensuing around the ball right here as you see the Chiefs really start to move in. Double teaming Rated there. Rated picking up the assist, but it's just death galore around this garage. Divine Mind's the one who seems to be suffering the most from it. A lot of deaths for them, but they're at least keeping Chiefs off the ball for the moment. Slayz starting to move in now. The ball has reset, so with that ball not moving much, we send it back down to bottom mid, and Slayz here just trying to get set up around this tower. I thought he was going to maybe play ball there, but with that OS coming up and not being contested too much, he's able to hold here with that drop ball. That drop ball has become stronger in Season 2. He decides to play ball it, so I guess he heard the call that the player was coming through from Mud. That was Slayz. Slayz managed to stay alive, pick up a double, I think that was actually, and that OS is still up, so he's going to start to make a move there. BZIIRK, though, he's going to try and contest him. That repulse is not going to do too much, unfortunately, Justin. And BZIIRK, with no shields, this OS is still not going to be able to be picked up, although it looks like finally we are going to have it in the hand of, I think that was Slayz.
Yes. Beastn actually with that OS, that could be key for him to move forward and make some plays for his squad. But Pip, he's
got other ideas.
Pip has definitely got other ideas, and that's one thing that Pips is really good at, is that utilizing the goodies on the map. He's going around trick or treat style, putting things into his baggy little treats to share with his friends on the opposite team. And he goes, hey, they got the OS. He instantly, hey, I'm going to get the PP and we're going to take that OS down, but still on board with Beastn with that heat wave, bag himself 1 kill. He does get called out and taken down. Chiefs has got a bit of a fragile lead at the moment, 34 points, but neither team has racked up many points for quite a while, Hoots. It's kind of just Oddball sitting down there on the ground. They just getting there, racking up their stats on each other.
Yeah, the round time is just starting to drop and drop and drop as no one's touching the ball. So, for the Chiefs, they've got the lead right now. That's fine by them if they want to just keep this completely neutral. We do have BZIIRK here with a snipe in his hands, going for the no-scope, unable to connect, does connect the second one there. Great follow-up there on Plasma, and he goes for the swipe across on Rated, doesn't get it. Rated's going to push out, and really great work there, predicting where he was standing, drops him there. But it's just going to be complete carnage down here at bottom middle. Beastn picking up a double. He's got the heat wave as well as the ball, and the ball's still not being touched, Justin. Down to 2 minutes left right now. Chiefs still just holding this 34-0 lead. They got a good chunk of time at the start, and pretty much from then haven't touched the ball, as we see Divine Mind finally starting to get their hands on it, pushing through to garage. It is just Plasma right now with the ball in garage. I think the rest of his team have actually moved out of there, trying to get on the offensive, but BZIIRK's managed to sneak through. You're going to see him pick up the one shot there on Rated. Overshield coming up. Swayz is going to get dropped just in the back there. So that OS is down. 3 down for Divine Mind. That's going to be an OS in the hand of BZIIRK. He manages to get it in, and they've done a really good job there to break that setup. I don't think Divine Mind Mind had enough players around that setup in Garage to really hold it for too long. They tried to go very offensive, but unfortunately, a few Chiefs players managed to sneak through and break it straight away. They've got OS and they've got ball control as well.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that when they've got ball control, it's kind of how aggressive do you get with that overshield? I mean, BZIIRK can't help himself. He holds forward 100% of the time. That was an interesting exchange just right there. Divine Mind, they have got a couple of points on the board there, but that OS didn't really amount to too much. So, Ninja. How was that a Ninja? I'm going to need a replay on that one to see how things pan out. That was some hectic gameplay. I couldn't even keep up. My old boomer mind just not able to compute everything that's going on. Now I'm board with Beastn, put some nice shots down onto the players there, applying some pressure, valuing his life. I'm liking everything that I'm seeing from this man. Predicted a nade coming in to clean him up, and he backs up perfectly. Shields are still flashing, but he feels confident to stick out and puts his head out just in time to get a double kill. I love his positioning, his timing. He did really, really well, just doing so much work for his squad. Great stuff from Beastn.
I want to give a special shout out to Swayz. That melee exchange that we were laughing about before, Swayz was actually involved in that and should have died, managed to stay alive, and actually stayed alive through that whole exchange and was only taken down there at the end of that double kill. So he was really crucial in Divine Mind being able to get a good chunk of time there and bring it back quite a bit. 50 seconds left though, and about a 25-point lead to the Chiefs. So, you know, they soon might start considering whether or not they play defensive and try and milk some of this clock out. They do have the ball hanging around tower here, although this is Plasma, sorry, that we're on board with. So we are on board with Divine Mind. So they have a bit of a setup now around tower. If they can get back here and hold around this tower area, they might be all right. Plasma starting to drop a bit, get a few kills, goes for the play ball. Didn't manage to get a huge amount of time though there, Justin. It was a bit of back and forth, and in that meantime, Slayz has managed to pick up the snipe and the OS and the ball, so completely
That's
stacked.
very greedy, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Sharing is caring, Slayz. We'll have words about this afterwards. But now, Slayz dropping that ball, handing it off to his teammates, or he just wants to utilize that montage maker that he's got in hand and that OS. All that OS has got burned, and he just gets taken down. Slayz had all the goodies, but not able to do much with them. Now, Divine Minds, they've got ball control, they've got map control. Time for them to go on a bit of a run. Pips grabbing himself one. He's got plenty of sniper bullets to play with as well. And here comes Divine Mind, that fragile lead that the Chiefs had early on. It's something to note, Hoots. There's only 13 seconds left on the clock, and Divine Minds, are they going to get ahead and then work down that clock? They just might. And look at that. Divine Minds, they've taken the lead. 13 seconds left on the clock. This next play is going to be the last ones for the Chiefs.
Yeah, this is huge. They have dropped it now. They've got a couple seconds lead, and you'd just be leaving that ball right now and playing full defense. They've got a full squad up. Plasma is dropped, so it's going to be only left to two Chiefs players, Madsy and Slayz, to get in, try and get a hand on the ball. They're not going to be able to, so Divine Mind managed to actually take that first round, Justin. They were pretty much just getting nowhere near the ball for the first 4 minutes of game time, and then decided to make their run right at the end, and that's a fantastic result to flip that around. And I think a massive part of that was, as we mentioned before, Swayz staying alive down here near this B side in that exchange before, where he just was an absolute ruckus, keeping players at bay while his team managed to get a good 25-second chunk. Swayz, now we are on board with, he's got the snipe. 4 dead, 4 Chiefs at that moment there, so looks like Divine Mind, Justin, have really started to turn it on.
Yeah, they have, and it's amazing to see. This is exactly the competition that we were hoping for. Divine Minds, they're hot out of the gate, something to prove. Swayz, sniper rifle in hand. He's got 5 bullets to play with. He's going to connect with some faces. Can't find a single target. Goes for the no-scope. Doesn't get the connection, but cleans up with a BR. Madsy's there if he wants it. He can feel it. You can tell he's feeling good. He's looking good on the map. He's not connecting with anything just yet. But when you have someone that is this confident, moving around the map, it's only a matter of time until they start stringing some kills together. Look at that. Perfect shots onto Madsy there from Swayz, and Divine Mind, they've gone on a 30-point run off the opening. Swayz has still got that original spawn sniper rifle, Hoots.
Yeah, he's doing fantastic. I think he's still got a couple of bullets to play with as well. He's got 2 in the chamber there, so he's going to be able to try and put a stop here to Madsy. I thought was actually going to be running through top mid there. They're hanging around that garage area, trying to push through to the B side. Their Plasma is pretty isolated isolated, so they're going to want to get across, get some support. Nice snipe there coming through from Swayz. He's on a real tear, going for another one. Isn't able to catch it in the air, but it looks like he's going to try and push in, grab ball here, and not even need to play ball, I think, because Chiefs are 4 down again. So 50 seconds to 0 right now for Divine Mind, and so much of this is off the back of Swayz just going absolutely crazy, assisting, slaying everywhere. He's 20 and 14 with 9 assists, Justin, and look at this, just tossing the ball over to Nest, and he's going to now just try and hold out, keep his life going in this B site. That snipe has no bullets left in it, staying alive here, and he's going to catch Beastn from behind, but manages to just stay alive. He's still got shields. Beastn, he's got the one up on him, pushes him away, finishes up the kill. This is unreal by Swayz.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can feel it as well, Hoots, but I can feel the cogs turning in Sway's head. He's, you can tell he's making decisions and he's course correcting himself if he thinks that he's not making the right play. An amazing life from Sway's there, 21 and 15 for the Divine Mind roster. And look at the scoreline, 61-3 in favor of Divine Minds. They're a little bit slow to start in that first round, but it's been all Divine Minds ever since. But BZIIRK has something to say about that. He's got the heat wave for you, bro. And there he goes, reversal onto Plasma. BZIIRK getting his shields back, sniffing out these other players. Sniper rifle is about to pop, 10 seconds to go. Swayz getting the better of BZIIRK in that situation. Now with Plasma from Divine Minds, looking for those Chiefs players that are all the way over in the garage. That Oddball just sitting there, waiting to be scooped up. Killjoy onto Madsy. Madsy doing what he can to keep his team in the game, but not translating to many points, Hoots. It's about 40 points the difference.
Yeah. So Chiefs have managed to just stall this a little bit. Swayz was going for that sniper before. I think he was able to pick it up, but he has been dropped now. So I'm not sure where Snipe is on the map as we speak. Pips just hanging around bottom middle here, going sneaky, just trying to hold out a bit. I like this move, Justin. He's waiting for his teammates to respawn. He's going back a bit. I think that heat wave's actually about to pop as well. You could see there on the weapon pad, it looked like that bar was pretty much full and it was about to come out. Plasma here, he's about to get dropped. Pips did get that heat wave in the end. I think we've just cut away from him, but I think he managed to actually stay alive in there because I'm seeing 2 dead, 4 Chiefs. So Pips doing a bit of work with that heat wave. Swayz cops a bullet to the back and a clean up with the battle rifle. Madsy's dropped though. We do see 2 Divine Mind plays starting to move in on the ball here. 2 dead for each team, and Pip, he's just staying alive here with the heat wave in bottom mid, waiting for his teammates to come back again. But it looks like ball right now equals death, Justin. Anyone who touches it's getting melted instantly.
Yeah, don't be a wuss, boys. Get your mitts on that ball. That's how you're going to win the game. But double kill and killing spree for Pips. He goes down. That overshield scooped up by Swayz. Slams it onto his chest. Goes out for the challenge. Beastn getting a nice little surprise there. And look at this. Swayz so aggressive and getting the reversal onto him as well. 71 points on the board for Divine Minds. They got a pretty comfortable lead over the Chiefs right now. And such consistent shots from Swayz this entire game. So confident. His BR is so crisp. He's, those whites are so crisp. They've been bleached, they've been pressed, and they've been sun dried, mate. He's just looking clean.
Yeah, Swayz is really trying to pretty much put a stake in the ground, saying, if a couple of players might be leaving the region, I really want to take this #1 mantle. He's just been going absolutely crazy. Madsy, though, likewise for Chiefs, he and BZIIRK are just trying to keep their team in on this one, whilst Divine Mind looking to push away. So this garage hold's going to be really crucial here, Justin. They've finally got a chance for a bit of a setup. It won't be as scrappy. They're about 30 points down now, so it's going to be interesting to see where they try and move this one. It looks like we have Divine Mind spawning over on the B side. They are pushing through garage, so Madsy's going to want to get the ball out of here. It looks like we are going to have BZIIRK drop. Madsy's got a 2-on-1. He manages to pick up both though, so really great support there coming through from outside on that B area. And look, we've got now him. He's managed to bring this back a little bit more, so it's still about this 20-point gap that we were talking about before, but he's in a position here that's strong. He can play ball it if he needs to. So this is also an interesting position for Chiefs though. They don't normally lose maps in general, right? Like, they've been used to winning them so easily, so they're finding themselves with their backs up against the wall. That ball's now been playballed. Beastn starting to move through mud down into this bottom mid area. He's got the PP in his back pocket, but I don't know if we have an OS up on the map right now, Justin. So he's just going to hold out here. Looks like OS is popping in 5 though, so this OS could be very crucial in deciding how this round finishes up.
Absolutely. Scoreline may as well be completely even. That OS has just popped. BZIIRK managing to grab it. We've been going on about Slayz, but BZIIRK with 28 kills to his name. Double kill for Slayz now. Lagging behind behind a little bit in the kills department, but he's done his share of heavy lifting. Now he's getting some points onto the board, and look at this. The Chiefs, they were behind. They're about to tie things up. Scoreline is getting to the pointy end of the game. The Chiefs, they've taken the lead for the first time this game. They've actually managed to bring things back, and now on board with Madsy putting some nice shots into Rated. Gets the better of him. Now ring around the rosy, trying to stay alive. The grenade cleanup comes in, but that's a lot of dead players on the kill speed. And now Beastn going into Divine Mind. They've scooped up the ball. It's back and forth. It could go either way at this point.
Yeah, Plasma's now got this, and I think we have 2 dead for Chiefs. They are starting to push through Garage, so if Swayz can just turn around there and put some shots in, we might be completely uncontested here if Plasma can just hold on to it. Grenades coming in, and Beastn actually pushes through Brutes along with BZIIRK, I think that is. So only 2 alive. Divine Mind, they're the closer in position, I think, to pick up this ball with Pips, but he's really going to have to put himself in a vulnerable position to actually pick that up. So they did take the lead back, a minute left. I don't think we're going to have the game clock run this one out. Someone's going to pick this one up and close it out. Only 8 seconds left needed for Divine Mind, but it is in such a precarious position, Justin. 3 dead for Chiefs. They should be making a move on this ball here, as we see they do. Pip just holding in this corner. It's a really tricky one. 2 grenade as well if you are coming through from Brutes, and they managed to get it. So when the Chiefs look like they were coming in to put an end to this round and tie it up, we do have Divine Mind being able to regather and take that game, and that's a massive one, Justin, to be, taking that lead in the first round, have a pretty big lead in the second round as well, start to lose it, but then regather, and in a really frantic final few stages, rounding that out, taking the first game against the Chiefs as well. That's a big moment for Divine Mind.
Yeah, listen, at the risk of being too spicy, Hoots, the Divine Mind roster kind of got the leftovers, right? Got put into the Tupperware, into the fridge, ready to be heated up the next night. And what does that do to that conference when you take map number 1 against the team that reshuffled and then forced you onto another roster? Pips and Rated especially must be feeling really good after that first map, and hopefully that will boost their confidence and they'll continue to take it to the Chiefs. So, and swinging back to the Chiefs, Hoots, what's going on in their minds, you think?
Yeah, I mean, like we said, they don't normally lose games. We're just looking at the stats here and the shots coming out of Swayz. Look at that, 9,138 damage. That is just a magnitude higher than both his teammates and his opponents. So he's just putting himself in these positions where he's able to just go absolutely crazy. And only 9 seconds of ball time, but when you're putting up the kind of slaying that he was doing, you can have 0 seconds of ball time for mine if you want. That was just a really dominant performance, and he was just disrupting every kind of setup that the Chiefs were trying to make.
Yeah, he really was. And we mentioned it before, it just had so much, his decision making. You could tell he was really wired in and thinking about things and course correcting throughout that game to try and maximize his influence on the game. And it translated into a map 1 victory, going through some of the highlights. And talking about Madsy, Star Slayer and then Slayz, he had a really good performance. BZIIRK, proving that he deserves to be on this top roster as well, being the top scorer for his team, I do believe, but not quite enough to keep up with Divine Mind. But it did seem like Divine Mind was just a bit more cohesive, which is something I touched on before the game. It's kind of, with the objective game type, it's, was the Chiefs going to have more team cohesion because they have more history together, and would that play in their favor? But I mean, 180 on that. Divine Mind looks really strong as a squad, but also individuals standing out as well.
I think Pips is really showing his versatility as well, right? That he can just slot into this team and provide such a fantastic level of support to Swayz in terms of just, the amount of assists and objective work he does when he needs to, while Swayz can just go absolutely mental and be running around with OS snipe, heatwave and ball if he wants. So he just really had it all together and everything to do for himself. But, we now move over to Slayer Aquarius. And so, now we can see Swayz just really put even the minute level of objective focus that he might have had in that last game into just pure slaying. And so, yeah, to be able to see him and Pips go to work on this one, we saw how dominant they were together on Catalyst in particular. I can't wait to see how they do it on Aquarius, a map that they're a lot more familiar with obviously, given the fact that that map has been out since Infinite first came out. So, yeah, Chiefs find themselves in an interesting position. I'm pretty sure we did cast a series a while back, Justin, when Divine Mind did actually send Chiefs to the elimination bracket, although it is worth noting that both of these rosters were significantly different back then.
Yeah, very, very different kettle of fish. And, you know, I'm hungry for a different kind of meal. I want to, you know, spice things up a little bit. And it's good to see that Divine Minds, they're stepping up into the play and they want to take that #1 spot in the region after all of those roster shuffles. But, you know, Slayer on Aquarius, you know, Slayer being such a momentum-based game type, are we going to see Divine Mind really push the Chiefs? And I think that's a key for them. They need to put the nails in the coffin early on the Chiefs. You cannot let the Chiefs get comfortable and warmed up, I think, you know, you just hit both NOS buttons on that steering wheel and you just got to steamroll them, get them out of the tournament right away. You can't afford to let Chiefs get comfortable and warmed up.
Yeah, I think they need to keep bringing that aggression that they had on live fire just then. You know, Chiefs are a team who typically dictate the pace, so Divine Mind need to keep them unsettled and keep pushing. And they've got the power to be able to do that now, which they might not have actually had before. So the fact that they can be as aggressive as they want now and really take it up to the Chiefs and, you know, have them as the ones being pushed back into their base or being completely split with spawns is something that the Chiefs probably aren't used to. So, you know, Divine Mind, now that they have that weapon in their arsenal, I guess, with Swayz and Pips to be able to do that kind of aggressive pushing, something that will hold them in really good stead for the rest of this series. So, you know, I guess we said at the start we didn't know which way this one was going to go, and we thought it would probably go to a 4-game. And you know, those first 2 rounds of Oddball, then, whilst they both did go to Divine Mind, they were very close. So, you know, now that we go to Slayer, and like I said before, no objective to have to worry about, we get to see these guys just purely slay and focus on nothing but that. Obviously, we do have Camo in the top corner here. We saw how crucial the power-ups were in that last game. Camo, something we haven't really had too much to say about over the last couple of games, given the maps we have been on. But let's look at how this focus goes at the very start, Justin, to see what kind of emphasis the teams put on Camo as opposed to positioning.
Yeah, and speaking of positioning, Aquarius is a map that, yes, there's long sight lines and gives you ability to shoot across map to put damage down for your teammates, but there's also a lot of sight lines that get just completely closed off, and if you don't have teamwork, you can kind of get isolated and taken down if you're not too careful. Slayz the first one to drop there, and Madsy getting away with that heat wave and Camo, so this is the man to watch. He's lurking in the depths. The Shark looking for his next meal, throwing out a bit of a feeler grenade, trying to see what's out there, launching down on that player. He's so hungry, but fish are friends, not food, and he goes in, whiffs one, doesn't matter. He's like, the heat wave doesn't work, boys, I'm going to try the BR. That one does connect. He is still alive. Grenades coming in for the cleanup. He does go down, unfortunately, but, you know, bit of uncharacteristic from Madsy there. He usually hits everything.
Yeah, I mean, you know, got 1 kill out of that Camo, so, you know, it's better than going negative with it, but probably would have liked to have done a little bit more. We've seen the Chiefs, they do have this top control over on P side here. So we got, I think, 3 almost up on top P there. So, you know, Pip really being held back in the fridge here. Nice work picking up a kill, though, on Slayz. So, you know, definitely not in a power position, but using his BR really effectively. And look, they've just come in and pushed them right back. So there's that aggression we were talking about, Justin. He's caught unawares there. Probably should have been focusing on the left-hand side before moving into the fridge. Maybe got a wrong call out, but, you know, 7-8 start, 8 all now. So very much, I think these two teams just feeling each other out to begin with.
Yeah, and that sizzle stick taking down Pips around the corner there. Now with Madsy, the BR monster himself, he's got 4 kills to his name, 4-1 currently, doing his best to assist his teammates here, clearing out that player. All tied up at 10-10. Anybody's game at this point, and yeah, Divine Mind, they took that first oddball map, but both rounds were very, very close, and I think he thought he had a plasma grenade in his pocket, doing his best to trade out the kills there. Now Beastn flashing shields does get them back, highlighting Beastn's kills 4 and 3, doing well, but now we have Pips, one of the sneakiest players in the region and very good at utilizing the weapons on the map, and look at that, didn't even shoot his gun, and was like, hey, what's up, son? Gives him the swift backhand into the respawn screen for him, looking for another player there, finds himself a second, desperately trying to stay alive with the call out, and the grenade does come. Pips doing well to disrupt things happening on the map, but only managing to nab himself a couple of kills there, Hoots.
Yeah, Beastn here with the sidekick, pushing in bottom mid. Nice work teaming up there with Slayz to take out Raiden. So this scoreline has stayed really close the whole way through, Justin. Beastn now managing to pick up a kill on Swayz, pushing back flag here, and it looks like there's a bit of a fold coming in here. 2 kills picked up there, a nice double for Beastn. He's dropped, and yeah, you know, there's no team really able to get any kind of map control right now or scoreboard pressure. It's all staying very, very close, similar to the last game we had in Oddball. Pips picks up a nice double there as well, so that is going to bring the lead into Divine Mind's hand. 3 down for the Chiefs. So can Divine Mind use that 3 down to try and get some kind of top control? It doesn't look like they're going to be able to. Madsy here just stuck over on the car side. Plasma pushing through. Madsy no shields, and he's just picked up straight away a double for Plasma. So a 3-kill gap, probably the biggest we've had of the game so far. And look at this fold coming in here, just moving in. Divine Mind with the heat wave, just absolute terror reigning everywhere. And now they're starting to push away, Justin. We've seen consistently 2 or 3 down for the Chiefs. Divine Mind, they're starting to flow, and it's Pips right now doing most of the damage. 10 kills and 5 deaths.
Yeah, you know what? Like, we always highlight Pips as being, you know, getting in down there, doing the dirty work, and, you know, maybe underappreciated because he's doing objective stuff, but here he is going double positive.
Oh, 29-20.
He's just outshining everyone else on third in the game currently. 29-20 as you highlight, Hoots. Divine Mind coming out strong in this game too, sniffing out those players. Easy cleanup for Plasma there, just a flick and taking that player out, sending him to the respawn screen. And look at this, Plasma just diverting his attention straight away to help out his teammates, putting some crisp shots into there. Good use of cover, trying to look for that flick, sees the grenade getting thrown out, decides not to cop it to the face. He goes down. Madsy with yet another camo. Can this man be stopped? He seems to get every single one of them.
Yeah, this camo is going to run out shortly. I think he picked it up a little, quite a while ago. So at least picking up a double there, using it well. He definitely needed to because the game was starting to get away from the Chiefs. So Madsy, just with this camo, he's able to at least sneak around a bit, put pressure on so his team can start to fold in, but still drop there. Swayz picking up a double out of nowhere in the kill feed. So look at that. The Chiefs have to push right back. Beastn's the last guy alive here, just having to stay alive. And he is going to go up one-on-one against Pips. And they're actually going to trade there with the BRs. So you'll take that every day of the week if you're Divine Mind, given that you do have the lead here, up by 7, and they're just really keeping the Chiefs on their toes. The Chiefs need to mount some kind of comeback here. 6 down now, and they are starting to at least get a bit of top control here. You see Slayz moving up top. BZIIRK's going to be dropped down. No, sorry, he's still alive in the fridge, but he's taking heavy damage. He's got no shields, and they do have Divine Mind now pinned in this back flag. So you're going to see the push starting to come through from Lockers there on Madsy, from Util, sorry, I should say. But Slayz starting to fold in as well. Watch this scoreboard start to turn here. Only a 2-kill gap now for the Chiefs. So that's 1 round of Slayz they really needed to get in. They're going to start to rotate over to the other side now and hopefully see if they can pinch them again. But it looks like we're going to have at least 1 member. I think that's Pips managing to get, it's actually Rated managing to get through. He's got Pips along there with him. So Slayz having a retreat. So good work there at least by Divine Mind managing to regroup and not allow a spawn trap to start happening.
That was such a clean collapse by the Chiefs there. They a full base of players and to go in and basically get a clean sweep to bring things back. Now only 2 kills the difference as we're crossing to the pointy end of this game. On board with Slayz, grabbing himself 1. Only 2 kills the difference, but Divine Mind, they're leading right now, but I think it's starting to shift momentum in favor of the Chiefs right now. They start to look very comfortable and working together to take players out, and Swayz just grabbing Rated completely unaware there, and they have managed to take the lead 40-39. It's only 1 kill, but they were down a couple of rounds of Slayz, but now Beastn the first one other than Madsy to grab that camo, and he is moving through, and Divine Mind's there on the back foot a little bit. Things have slowed down considerably, and it does look like Chiefs have managed to take complete control of this map so far. There's Pips unable to save Slayz in that situation, but you can trade out kills when you've got the lead. But now that heat wave in the hands of Beastn, he's got that camo, looking very dangerous, but he does cop a grenade. 2 kills the difference, getting down to the pointy end, Hoots.
Yeah, Pips starting to move. I thought he was going to go top mid. It looks like he's seeing that heat wave and he's pushing in, wants it for himself, so it's going to be actually out of ammo. So this is super close right now. 2-kill lead to the Chiefs, 45-43, and I guess they can't really use that same kind of aggression they had at the start there. We do see 2 players super weak over there in sorry, no, I saw that wrong, but Pips managing to stay alive here. 3-kill lead, and look at the push coming through from Chiefs onto the flag there. They know they've got them isolated 2 down. Meanwhile, Pips is copying shots in the back. I think this is a perfect fold in here coming from Chiefs. Plasma just trying to defend with the heat wave. Unfortunately, it's not going to work. Only 1 kill now needed for the Chiefs. This fold in here has been absolutely perfect. Dropping Divine Mind, knowing that they're in a position just to get a couple more kills to round this one out. And look at this with heat wave. We've got a few of these nades coming in, but when you've got the heat wave there, you can afford to push in and close it out there. Beastn with his 14th kill there manages to take that one out, and God, that's an incredible comeback there by the Chiefs. I thought Divine Mind were in such a power position, being up by about 10. Like we said before, they had some really strong pushes into those flags and folding in on them, but it was just that one push that we had on the flip side from the Chiefs that really got Divine Mind on the back foot, and they just weren't able to recover from there.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the swinging point. The pendulum started going the other way, didn't it? It just felt like a different game after that. Yes, they were still around a Slayz behind, but when you have a clean collapse like that as a team, Hoots, boy, does your confidence just swell. Your chest just starts beating and you're the strongest, buffest man on the map. And Chiefs managing to bring things back and take out Divine Minds. And we mentioned that potentially Divine Mind needed to put this game to bed as early as possible and not let Chiefs start determining the pace of the game. But Chiefs, they've already returned it. They brought it back in this game. And what's it going to be like the rest of the series?
Yeah, well, Beastn really did light fire in that one. We've seen him as a player who, particularly at the Super, can just really light fire. I think it was in Maniac who said, Beastn straight feasting. He just loves going in and really just feasting on everyone when he can. And it was a perfect example then going I think +4 with 8 assists. So that's a really great performance from him. But yeah, you're right, Justin. It was the pace. Once it got taken out of it, the Chiefs were dictating the level that it was going, and they preferred a bit of a slower game there. And it just worked perfect for them. They could be really methodical, pinning them into the back of the flag, and then when the time was right, pushing in. And I think this was one of the moments here, just with this heat wave going in, ultra frantic, and just, the whole team coming in and a clean wipe of spawns without losing a life. And when you can have that kind of 4-kill swing, the momentum that gets you going into the next round of spawns is just absolutely massive.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And Chiefs starting to look pretty good. Pretty good. They've got their best shoes on. They've shined them up nicely. They've got their mums to tie their ties for them, and they're off to the high school formal looking really good. And we're just going to see, is Divine Mind going to be able to bounce back? They performed really well in that first Oddball game in high pressure situations, able to clutch things up, but then they kind of choked a little bit game 2. So we've seen them clutch, we've seen them choke, and I'll have to see how they bounce back after a loss. But this series, it could go back and forth.
And the more exciting thing, Justin, is I'm looking at the bottom of the screen there, we finally got a King of the Hill Streets coming up. So we get to see the new game type, which we really want to see how these teams go about playing this. It's a bit of everything in the way we've got, the points-based system, I guess, has some similarity to Oddball. You've got a little bit of strongholds in there. It's a bit of everything, but the fact that it's kind of all focused on this one hill is a real game changer. And something a little bit different to, previous versions of King of the Hill as well, is that you really have to stay in the hill for a few moments before you can start capturing. It's not the instant capture like we've seen in Halo 3 and other Halo titles. So it really requires, when you want to make the move onto that hill, that you pick the right time. You've got a couple down so you can get a couple of those uncontested seconds to start to capture that and really rack that score up. So for those of you, again, as we said at the start of the broadcast, who are a little bit unfamiliar with King of the Hill, we're playing first to 4 points. And so, we have a rotating hill constantly, and whoever fills up their score meter first on each hill gets that point. So first to 4, we can finish in a tie. We can finish at 4-all if the game timer runs out, and if that is the case, we will then start the map up again and just have one final sudden death hill. So just keep that in mind, because given how close these games have been so far, Justin, there's no reason to say we won't be going to a sudden death final hill if required. But being a new game type, something that hasn't been in Infinite apart from the last couple of weeks, it's just going to be interesting to see if teams have really started, if particular teams have been putting really important and heavy time in. We almost see here, jumping on with BZIIRK, getting the insta-splode there on Pips. He doesn't manage to make it happen, but we have this opening hill now up here, and we're just waiting for teams to start to get position. But all 4 dead for Chiefs off the start as we have this hill in arcade, rockets in the hands of Plasma. So they're going to be in a great position as we see that little score timer starting to tick up down the bottom there. And with rockets to be able to defend this hill, they're in a good position to make a first capture.
Yeah, Plasma just being, look at this discipline, not to be the first one to hill. It looks like he's opting to grab himself a couple of kills before grabbing it. And look at this, Plasma trying to stay alive, hill controlled, finds himself a player. He does go down. Plasma, who's doing all the right things, it just didn't work out for him this time. It's very back and forth, all dead now. We got Pips with that Stalker rifle. Now they've got hill control, and that timer is starting to build up consistently. decently. However, the Chiefs, still early days, isn't it, Hoots? There's still plenty of time, but it does look Divine Minds. They're not taking that loss to heart from the previous game. They've bounced straight back and challenging, getting in the faces of the Chiefs. They want to win this series.
Absolutely. We have Divine Mind off to a good start here. Chiefs haven't been able to get any semblance of hill control at all. They are now finally in there, but Divine Mind already halfway through to securing this first point. So we are going to see Chiefs now start to get a bit of a setup here. BZIIRK going for the remote detonation again. Not going to work this time. Plasma just laying low, but they do have them in a pretty precarious position right now. Divine Mind not being able to make many inroads onto the hill, and look at this already. We've seen Chiefs pretty much tied it back up now. Plasma having to go for a bit of a Hail Mary, jump out the window. He's going to be pushed back straight away, and now we have Chiefs taking the lead in this opening point round here. We do have them out of the hill now, so you know, this is that kind of balance you have, Justin, when you occasionally need to push back, but when you start to get this close at the end, you do start to see a real scrap for these final seconds of hill time that you wouldn't see at this stage of a game in a regular Halo King of the Hill type. That's what makes this new game mode so intense. This random, really sort of scrap for the final bit, because if you look at the Chiefs there, they only need about 10 more seconds or less to go to secure this first point. Divine Mind starting to move in on it as well, so this is an ultra close opening round here.
It is. Madsy with a double kill there. And, you know, Plasma was doing really well there. Such a long life for him. I think he's still alive. Now rated in the hill for his team. It is neck and neck right now. Here comes that Chiefs push, but rated popping out to say hello. Finds himself one. The double's there if he wants it. He does connect. Doesn't actually take any damage himself. Rated going ham for his team, and they take the first hill. This King of the Hill map, they do require a few more to take out this first this map, people. You have to, full disclosure, everyone, this is the first time commentating Halo Infinite King of the Hill, so I might fumble here and there. Doing my best, all right? But we are on board with Rated, who's showing up for his squad nonetheless. At least he knows how to play King of the Hill, and here he is smelling blood in the water with his squad taking over and wasting no time in taking control of this hill.
But whilst you're never, you know, out of it in this game because we're on a point system, one thing that's worth noting is that, you know, Chiefs got a lot of hill time then, but on the scoreboard it shows for absolutely nothing, because Divine Mind were able to close that out, get that opening point. The Chiefs, it's pretty much like they haven't impacted the scoreboard at all. So speaking of not impacting the scoreboard at all, just having a look right now at the kill feed, and BZIIRK is 0-9 right now, so he is struggling to make much of an impact here. He has picked up the 2 assists, but, you know, like we said before, it's a new game type that people aren't super familiar with, so perhaps this is something that he is struggling with a little bit. I like the kind of protection Divine Mind are putting on this hill right now. It looks like they're just trying to slay for a little bit before making a move on this hill. They do have 3 down right now, so this is the time you get in, you start to capture, and they're going to be able to progress even further on this. They're already over halfway to scoring this second point. Swayz has just grabbed the rockets there, and he's been able to get away really safe. And look at him go on the offensive here. This is where Chiefs are spawning around, and they're just keeping them completely at bay with these rockets. There's really nothing Chiefs can do. Divine Mind's going to take this second point completely uncontested from the Chiefs. Fantastic work.
Yeah, they've really bounced back from that loss, haven't they, Hoots? And, you know, just a slow cap to the best segue I've ever think you've delivered with that onto BZIIRK there. 0 impact. I'm going to be laughing about that one for days, I think. And Swayz now with his squad for Divine Mind. They've got 2 hill catches on the board and already going to work, getting that third one on the board. You know, the Chiefs are on the back foot a little bit. Divine Mind just playing out of their minds right now. And look at this, Swayz putting in so much aggression to keep those players away from the hill. There's BZIIRK caught out. He does go down, and Rated now on board with him. Looking at the kill feed, he's on double-digit kills. And we have 2 players on Divine Minds within the double digits, and a lot of the players in the Chiefs are struggling quite a bit. Slayz topping that squad with as I say that, he trips over into the double digits himself. Caught off guard a little bit there. Sorry, folks. Now, we do have Chiefs. They're not out of it just yet. Divine Minds have been very strong, but as we've seen before, you can't let the Chiefs get comfortable. If they start setting the pace of the game, they can bring things back. So I think Divine Minds have got to keep that aggression up, keep the Chiefs on the back foot, don't let them get a good stronghold and get things moving.
Yeah, Divine Mind's starting to push into this courtyard spawn here, though, for the hill. Rated pushing through PD. I like the use of the drop ball there, Justin, coming in at just the right time to mean that Rated had no potential to flank there, given that drop ball is significantly stronger now. Nice work there by the Chiefs to actually push Divine Mind back. 3 dead now. but we're not seeing the Chiefs really get in and make a move on the hill. Madsy now starting to push in. They're going to capture it, start to score, although they're held back again. You can see in the middle of the score down there, they're just not able to fill that little that diamond up there. They finally do. That score's starting to rack up again. Rockets, though, back in the hand of Swayz. He's very weak right now, but he's still looking to push in. Nice work there, though, stepping back, letting those shields come back. He knows that he's got one chance to put a stop to this. Unfortunately, that rocket's not going to connect. I think Madsy might have taken a little bit of splash damage, but he's back right up on that ledge, pushing off, just getting shots on rated to stop him there, and it looks like they should be in a position to at least get a first point on the board here. They don't need much time, but Divine Minds managed to actually sneak in. 2 down, 4 Chiefs here, and they're going to try and flip this back. So look at that score really starting to quickly rack up again. We're close to being even Stevens again on this as the push from Chiefs is coming through Arcade.
Yeah, they certainly are, and you know, the Chiefs, they're starting to warm things up, aren't they, Hoots? It's been a bit of a Divine Minds show, but as this new format for King of the Hill, it does give the other team an opportunity to bring things back if they want to. It doesn't snowball too far out of their control, and you can swing things back. Now, we are on board with Plasma. He's got that battle rifle. He's got the Bulldog to play with as well. And Divine Mind, they clutch up another hill. They've got 3 on the board, 3 to their name for that Divine Mind flag. Fly high, fly proudly. And now the Chiefs, they're really on the back foot, Hoots. They're going to have to reverse sweep these hills if they're going to be able to take out this map.
Yeah, it's a good point, the reverse sweep in King of the Hill. I didn't really think about that. And look, we've just had, they managed to get a little bit of capture at the start, but Divine Mind, Plasma was just, they had no idea he was there over on this A site here. So he's just managing to pretty much put shots across the whole back area here. And look, he's now in such a power position. You've got Swayz up on that PD ledge. Plasma's up on the A side. And they're just not really in a position, the Chiefs, to make a breakthrough. Rockets are popping. He manages to keep Madsy off there. BZIIRK, I think, is making a push for those rockets. At least I thought he was. He's not able to pick them up. He runs straight through, though. They're more focused on the hill right now. Perfect coming out of Plasma there. And rockets are now in the hands of, well, they were in the hands of Slayz, but Plasma picking them back up, looking to make a push in here. The rocket, he's wasted it, but Madsy had to push back anyway. Divine Mind, they've put in a good chunk of time already on this hill, and now he's got the Bulldog in his back pocket in close quarters here around Cafe. He's going to be dropped, but look at this. Divine Mind only need a little bit more time. Chiefs really have to do something now.
Yeah, look at the scoreline. Divine Minds, Plasma, 19. Swayz, 20. Rated, 17. Pips, 15 assists. Yeah. They are all just going absolutely ham. It is all Divine Minds in this third game. And here comes the body disrespect. I love to see a double kill as well. We're getting treated. And Divine Mind boys here to play. Swayz, styling on all of them. Madsy hiding in the corner, trying his best to stay alive. Swayz is like, come out. Go to ping it. I dare you the challenge, bro. He comes out, you know, Madsy doing everything he can. Wow. But victory for Divine Mind, winning 4-0 versus the Chiefs. And do we have our new #1 team, Hoots? I don't want to call it too early.
Well, that was
feeling pretty good. I'm liking what I'm seeing.
That's got to be one that really gets you jazzed up, because that was a statement in every sense. It was a clean sweep in terms of 4 points to 0, but you know, there are a few players from the Chiefs who probably weren't putting in the kind of performances they'd be wanting to, and you know, the impact that can have on the following games, knowing that they're now coming up one more game in their sense of the elimination bracket, which is not an area they're too familiar with. They've only been down there once before. That being said, they did come out and manage to reverse sweep coming out of that elimination bracket. But just looking at the scores here, and you know, we did say BZIIRK had a pretty rough day at the office there, 5 and 20. Did pick up the 9 assists, but you know, sometimes there are just games when it's not happening for you. And on the flip side, we had, you know, the usual suspects for Divine Mind putting in a whole heap of work and a whole heap of damage. I'm talking about Rated in particular, just 5,038, and Swayz as well, of course, 5,678 damage. So huge amount of shots being put out by them across the map, and there are a couple of close hills there, but just as importantly, Justin, there were probably 2 that were pretty one-sided.
Absolutely, and I mean, I think that was all Divine Minds. That whole game, they just, even when Chiefs was, that's interesting, Plasma sticking himself there. Not the highlight that you would put in your montage, I would say. But yeah, Divine Minds, they just clutched up when they needed to and kept Chiefs on the back foot. And if you clutch up a hill like that, you just carry that momentum instantly into the next one. And Divine Minds, they're coming out very strong from this game. And the roster shuffle is kind of in question which team was going to come out on top. And it does look like Chiefs, you know, they're a little bit flustered. It's, you know, BZIIRK was struggling that game. I believe Slayz might have been struggling the game before. And when you're shooting bodies, that means that you're confident, right? You can tell when a player's feeling good when they have the confidence to talk smack to the enemy players in game when the series is still going on. But we are going to move into the next one. Still could go either way, but Divine Minds, they've got quite a bit of momentum behind them.
This dad stuff, hey. Either way, we're getting saved by Bazaar. Our Lord and Savior that is the chicken map will finally be able to give us an indicator of whether or not we're going to go to map 5 or it all ends here, lads. Let's start talking about some Halo.
Yeah, let's stop talking about fighting each other, Justin, and let's talk about fighting the demons.
That's because you'd lose. You don't want to talk about it.
Let's talk about fighting the demons that stop us from finishing this Bazaar CTF game. I know if we work together, we can get there. It's taken a while, but I think I said third time lucky before. We're now fourth time lucky. So like I said before, for those who might have just tuned in, we actually are starting off. It won't be reflected on the scoreboard, but the Chiefs are going to be up 1-0 given they managed to get a cap in that previous game before we crashed. So let's just put that one down. We'll try and keep that in mind when we are looking at the scoreboard. But Divine Mind obviously now need to cap 5 before the Chiefs can cap 4, and we'll keep reminding you about that as we go on through this game. But the 12-minute mark is still going to stay in effect, so we will be going the whole way through if we need to, which we typically do on Bazaar CTF. We start off with Plasma running straight up the guts. Thought he was almost lagging out, running into the wall there, but he's already takes a turn at the fruit and goes straight for this grapple shot here. And looking to swing back around. I love that move.
That
so
was cheeky.
That's fantastic. I love that. Madsy, once again, with the rockets. He's pretty much had them every chance he's got there. Picks up the kill on Swayz. Is dropped himself afterwards, but that is 4 down for Divine Mind. So BZIIRK putting that OS in, and are we going to see another really strong push? It looks like Divine Mind have managed to get some pretty good, strong defensive spawns off the back of them being 4 down here. That OS is pretty much melted straight away. BZIIRK not able to pick up a kill, but he can cause enough of a ruckus for his teammates to move in here, although Raided's got other ideas, dropping Swayz, and this is a really good flip around here, Justin. I thought the Chiefs were going to be in a strong position to start to get in and look to put another quick cap on the board, but unfortunately, it's Divine Mind who answer right back. Picking up this Bulldog here is Raided, and he's getting around a fair bit right now, already looking to make a move into the Chiefs base through the bar, it looks like.
Yeah, he is. He's going to go order himself a double barrel, and he takes that one player down. Double kills there, and instantly pushing up onto the flag area, looking for those spawners, making sure that he applies pressure when needed. Grabs himself a flag. He's gung-ho, moving it across and hands that flag off, and he's like, boys, I'm absolutely beaming. You run the flag, let me shoot some guys. And Pips running that flag across. A player in front of him challenges. He goes down. Pips copping a lot of bullets, and a flag standoff between 2 players. Pips desperately trying to stay alive. He does go down. It's getting very scrappy in these double doors. Here comes Raided, killing spree for him, and flag is on the move. Does look like Divine Mind answering to that first flag cap before the game needed to be restarted, and now they're on the board. We're effectively tied up, Hoots.
Yep, absolutely tied up. This OS is coming up again, and we're going to see if I think it was Plasma actually that did that really sneaky route before. I wanted to see that again, but it's not going to happen. I think Swayz, it looks like he's going to be potentially in a position to grab this OS, although he will trade out with Beastn. So 2 down for Chiefs, 1 down for Divine Mind. This OS has clearly been picked up by someone, although I'm not sure who it is. It might even still be down on the ground unless it was melted instantly, but the OS looking like it's not really going to be too much of a factor. Maybe Swayz had it, then we might have seen a little slight glow there in his shields when he was at those double doors. So Raider doing a great job staying down here with the Bulldog. He is going to be dropped eventually. 2 down for Chiefs, 2 down for Divine Mind. Plasma just slowly creeping out of there, although he does get chased in there by Slayz, who drops in and starts to move through the bar now, looking to clear out the alleyway if there is anyone in there before making a push on this flag. But with this grapple hook, Justin, he can really get in quickly. So when the opportunity is right for him to pounce, he knows he can get in there and make a move on this flag. Working really well with Madsy here. Plasma is going to be in his sights as well now. A few nades should connect, and looking to just make the quick angle switch here. He knows there's more cover on that left-hand side from grenades that might be coming in. And Pips now just stuck up on the pillars here. They're pushing pushing in really strong. Slayz, it looks like he's going to just be hovering around here, bottom mid, playing a bit of defense, I think, while this flag does start to be run by BZIIRK straight through over the top of market here and up through the double doors. Rockets now in the hands of Beastn as well, so they're in a really strong position here, Chiefs, with the double kill to put in this second flag and go up 2-1.
Yeah, that was perfect play from Beastn there. Watching, covering the retreat with the flag, it looks like that one is going to go in, and then connecting on both his rockets. Great stuff from him. And those who are just tuning in, we did have a lag out after the Chiefs already scored a flag, so it is technically 2-1. Divine Mind trailing by 1 at the moment, but both of them have been back and forth, anybody's game at this point. We are on board with Beastn doing very well for his team. The killing spree for him. Raided, he's backed off from the double doors. Beastn holding this 50-yard line. It's like you want to get to a flag, you got to go through me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's worth reminding, I think through all the restarts, we have forgotten that Divine Mind are up 2-1 in this series, Justin. So one more win in this series and they do go through to our grand final and send the Chiefs down to the elimination bracket. Right now, as a reminder as well, we do have Chiefs up 2-1 despite the score saying 1-1. And we have Madsy now with an OS in his hand, making a move on this flag. Doesn't get the slide like he wanted, unfortunately, but with that OS, he can actually run that flag typically through that break there and survive without taking too much damage, given he has that extra protection. Unfortunately, missing that slide, he just decided not to go on the run at all. Potentially could have been an idea just to go for it anyway. Your overshield's going to get melted, but you know you'll at least probably survive that run. But look at BZIIRK, you look at the aggression, grappling in despite taking a shot, then manages to drop Pip. So they're just going to have a second attempt at this flag, and I think Divine Mind are going to be around this alley side as well as with a player on double doors. So no real position for BZIIRK to run it. He's tried to run it alley, and now they've got 2 of them. They might be able to get one here with Plasma. He's going to be dropped, no shields for BZIIRK, so he's going to see as he's going to go super aggressive and try and run it through. He gets a really nice bounce from the flag, Justin, and the fact he's gotten this down into Bulldog area and has the protection. Look at his teammates, like running backs, just pushing through, clearing the way for him. He's going to be able to get this flag pretty damn close to his base.
Yeah, he wasn't too efficient with his flag run, in my opinion, Hoots. But, you know, his teammate doing the right thing. And as you say, you know, he's just steamrolling through, clearing the pathway like Mr. Plow, opening up the streets for him. And that flag is right there. This might be the scrappiest flag cap we've ever seen the Chiefs attempt. Usually they wait for a clean run, but they are really just trying to get it through. That was a bit of a flustercluck there. And that flag does get returned. No scoring today, people. Now on board with BZIIRK as, Beastn as he's hunting down. Spanker is about to pop. Couple of spike grenades do go out. Then he manages to get the kill. That overshield there and is scooped up by his teammate there. Another player falls. The Chiefs in a really good position here, Hoots. They've got the rockets, they've got the overshield, and they're going in for blood to get a flag cap.
Nice.
Madsy only connecting on that one kill with the self rocket there. Swayz, he goes down as Slayz, goes down as well. Beastn might be the last man standing, desperately trying to get things going, but he falls as well. Chiefs, they had all the goodies, but they couldn't get anything going.
Yeah, and they're 2 down now as well, so that's enabling Pip to basically run uncontested through bottom mid. God, Caster's Curse. As soon as I say that, he cops about 7 grenades to the back, but he does have the passive income there that he's able to put down, and the melee doesn't connect there, unfortunately. Not sure what that was all about. Raider just able to stay alive here and move back into the palm. So they're sort of stuck, pretty defensive playing right now, Divine Mind. They do have the Chiefs, though, as well, hanging around their palm. So neither team really looking like they're wanting to make too much of a push. I'm noticing Swayz sitting right below the Chiefs balcony there, so he might start to try and pop up if Rated can get a few shots. He is no shields as well himself, just keeping his head down there, looking at the ground, trying to stay alive, ducking out again, but nice clean up there on Beastn. He's going to have to deal with Madsy. Unfortunately, Madsy too strong there. Manages to take him out. 3 down, though, for Chiefs for a moment there. Madsy, last one alive, up in the lobby. I think he's going to have 2 to deal with. He was never going to win that one, unfortunately. And now we see Divine Mind starting to push in. So they've managed to take Madsy down. Madsy being one of the strongest Slayers on the Chiefs team. Maybe that gives a little bit of impetus for Divine Mind to start to get in here. But Swayz being met with strong fire, unable to really push too far past the deck at all, or the balcony, I should say, sorry. And just met at the double doors there by a really good BR there from Slayz, and neither team really managing to get too far, although Plasma has, with that grapple shot, managed to sneak in a little bit, and as soon as he tosses the flag, Justin, he's straight out of there. Knew that flag was never going to get run.
Yeah, he's trying to value his life, and it's can sometimes causing a bit of a nuisance in the base, disruption. When you have a player in your base, you got to get them out. So sometimes you can just be a bit annoying and buy some time for your teammates. But the scoreline is actually 2-1 in favor of the Chiefs right now. The clock is starting to tick down. So Divine Minds, they've got to do something soon, but it has been very back and forth. We haven't really seen too many clean flag runs. They've really had to fight tooth and nail all the way through. Now we're on board with Mr. Ali BZIIRK himself here. Mr. Light Aim moving through, grabs himself an easy cleanup. A player comes down to challenge him, take him down now with raided shields flashing, checking out the market in bottom mid. He does go down. Beastn getting the better of him there, swapping over to him, and he's chilling out over at the base, clearing things out, just looking for some fresh targets. And I like that, making sure the base is clear, that there's no one being sneaky before he tries to take some map control. Going out, getting the challenge, and he takes down Pips. Pips, what are you looking at, mate? You got to challenge the player around the corner. Beastn doing incredibly well. Shots across the map to help out his teammate here. Beastn, just a living turret, rotating around. It's almost like he's on mouse and key. He's just flicking everywhere, Hoots.
Yeah, absolutely. BZIIRK now with these rockets. He hasn't really been able to slay too much, although he's putting in strong assists, 12 assists there. So, see if he can pick up a couple of kills for himself here, Justin. I just have word that Direwolves have lost to Digital Nation, so they will be out of the tournament now. Digital Nation effectively waiting for the loser of this game down in the elimination bracket, so looking to cause a bit of an upset through the elimination bracket is Digital Nation. But meanwhile, we are back on board with Swayz here, throwing up a few of those grenades there just to try and stop any kind of push with a bit of area denial. But the time is starting to become a bit of a factor, as you mentioned before, Justin. Right now, Chiefs looking to push this to a decisive Game 5 Slayer on Streets. Swayz just shots everywhere. Great use of the thruster pack there to just at least get out of the line of fire and waiting for his shields to come back. But knowing he had pressure behind him, really loved the heads up play there just to stay around that corner as long as he could, knowing fire could come from the flag, but pushing back around to fight and at least push back. But he's just copying shots from everywhere. Meanwhile, Beastn being able to pick up this OS, and this is a crucial one here. If they can try and make some kind of a push, they do have 2 down now for Divine Mind. Make that 3. So this is prime time to push in, put another flag in, and if they do that, Justin, they set themselves up for a 2-flag lead with only a minute and a half to go. Pretty insurmountable task for Divine Mind to come back from. We do see this flag now starting to move.
Yeah, it should be pretty tough. And those Divine Mind players all coming off the spawn, and Beastn just being such a nuisance and applying pressure. It's so hard to move across the map to try and stop a flag when you have someone shooting you as you come off the respawn pad. And it does look like the Chiefs may be able to get this one in, but Divine Mind not going down without a fight. It's sitting down there on the podium. Pip's doing what he can, but BZIIRK comes in, sorts him out, flag taken, slams it onto the podium, and it's 3-1 in favor of the Chiefs with less than a minute to go. And it does look like Divine Minds is in a little bit of trouble, Hoots.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're Chiefs right now, I think you just play defense. I mean, I'm sure they know in their heads that they are up by 2, so there's no real need to be pushing with 40 seconds to go. Meanwhile, though, if you are Divine Mind, you have to be getting in there and making a move. We did see Swayz there trying to do so. Unfortunately, Beastn, he's got the right idea, just playing back, get that flag returned. Let's just finish this game off now. 25 seconds to go. It's a pretty impossible task for Divine Mind to try and put in 2 flags, given they've only managed 1 in 11 and a half minutes. So, they can just now, with these rockets as well, coming up soon, and Beastn, he's just going to be able to put a complete stop to this. I don't even know if he was really trying on that one there. It looked like he almost stopped for a moment, but I think Divine Mind are pretty much agreeing. No real point trying. The flag is out, but they know themselves that they're not going to be able to put another one in. BZIIRK just
he fumbled that. It did like the movie guy not looking at the explosion behind it, but he totally fumbled it, and it's just like, I'm going to act cool and I'm going to act like I meant to do that. But
just trying to pad the stats to show you another flag pull potentially, which is showing he's playing the objective. But we do finally, we've had nothing but 2 O's the whole way through so far, Justin, but we finally have a 3-2 and a 2-all, sorry. So this will be a 3-2. It just depends which way it goes. But keeping in mind that then when we do get to the grand finals, if it is these 2 teams playing against each other once again, whoever loses has to reset the bracket, so they have to win a best of 5 and then another best of 5 if they want to win this one. But given how close these teams are, you could see this going to 2 best of 5s in the grand final if they both do get there. As we said before, it's Digital Nation now waiting for the loser of the next game, which is Slayer on Streets. But just having a look at the stats here, and look, I mean, we spoke about it before. BZIIRK had a bit of a rough day, but he was picking up a lot of assists, which is what we want to see. And actually putting a lot of fire out as well. So, doing a fair bit of damage for his team, putting himself in positions where he might cop a bit of damage himself and be dropped, but making sure that his team can get those flags home. And like we said, that scoreboard does say a 2-1 win there to the Chiefs, but it was 3-1. So more convincing than the scoreboard would actually say, Justin.
Yeah, I would say so. And highlighting Beastn there, 29 kills. And without those, lobby resets there, he probably would have dropped 30 kills for the game as well. So showing up for his squad, and I think he had like 7,200 damage or something ridiculous like that. Like that's a girthy stat line. But the Chiefs, they've brought things back. I think the scoreline is actually 2-2. Correct me if I'm wrong, Hoot. So we are moving to a game 5.
Yep,
rubbing my hands together with glee. Game 5, the Chiefs versus the Divine Minds. What more could you ask for? It's like, you write down what you want for Christmas for Santa, and then he actually delivers.
Yeah, I had on my list a Game 5 in Pro Series 6 of the winners finals. That was top of my list, Justin. But it's great to see that we said it's going to be hard to split these two teams, right? And they're proving us correct. It's just two teams who have had some big roster changes. Barcode's no longer on the Chiefs, and was the leader of that team in every sense of the word. And so with him not there now, it really just opens the region up, I guess, to what could be, and that it's no longer where we're signing on for these casts at the start. And we always used to say, all right, well, Chiefs are going to win, so let's talk about the battle for 2nd to 4th. We don't really have to do that anymore. We can talk about what's the battle for 1st onwards. So we now go to this final game, Slayer on Streets. And it's we had Streets before in that King of the Hill, and Divine Mind were dominant. Obviously, it was an objective-based game, but they were running some pretty solid routes on that map. And we head back there, the scene of the crime for the last time that these two teams met, and Divine Mind looking to close this one out. But Chiefs with that 3-1 performance, that was pretty solid. That was maybe all those restarts, we had to have a bit of time for them to cool down, just regather their thoughts, and start to push through again.
Yeah, maybe. And that mental reset can be so important. And, we keep banging on about it with the LAN coming up. Your mental game is very, very important. You'll have a full weekend of gameplay in a high stress environment. You got to be able to, splash some water on your face and just reset and move into the next map. If you lose a game, that game is done. You can't change it. It's been set in stone. There's no time stone to bring things back. The Avengers ain't coming. You lost it, right? Snap, done. Thanos wins. Thanos was right, by the way. And now we're moving into this last game. Last chance for these teams, and it would be so interesting to see if Divine Mind can push the Chiefs into the elimination bracket and take them out. We talked about it before. They've got to hit them hard. They've got to hit them early. They took a couple of games off them and they're faltering a little bit, but still they have an opportunity to send them down into the elimination bracket and have that bracket reset that can be so powerful. And I don't think that we've ever seen a full bracket reset in ANZ. Well, we've been casting, right, Hoots?
No, well, definitely not for Infinite. No, not at all. So yeah, I'm trying to cast my mind back to some series that we've had one, says Luke. So yeah, we have had one. Okay, there we go. So, it's not going to be a brand new thing, but it's not something we see very often. And Game 5s in general with the Chiefs aren't something we see very often either. So unfamiliar territory for them. And we're just seeing this happens every time. If you are going through there, jump the spike grenade. Do not run straight over them, because they are going to get insta-sploded every single time. I love it. It's hilarious. But we are now jumping on with Slayz for the Chiefs. So a 4-1 start for the Chiefs, really strong here. And we do have rockets in the hands of Madsy. It seems like he always has them, Justin. Misses that first one, grabs one on that second one, taking down Plasma. 5-1 Chiefs. They mean business. They're starting strong.
They certainly are, and it is so scrappy. Both teams not wanting to give the other team an inch to play with right now. We're completely tied up. It's exactly what we want to see. And Swayz now with that Stalker Rifle putting some shots across the map and moving through and just trading kill for kill at the moment. Easy cleanup for Swayz there, grabbing that kill for his team, and now looking for those rotators, being very patient and catching BZIIRK off guard, holding that down. And the Chiefs, all 4 members are over there. Pips managing to grab Beastn Beastn, and here comes the collapse from the Divine Mind boys. They managed to grab a second. Madsy, last man alive, he goes down, and it's a clean sweep for Divine Mind. I love it.
God, they've flipped the script so quickly. 11-7, they're up. It's worth noting Luke's just been in my ear telling me that, of course, how stupid of us, Justin. We casted the reset. It was between Chiefs and Divine Mind when Divine Mind sent the Chiefs to the losers bracket back in one of our earlier tournaments at the start of the year. So I think our brains have turned to mush from filling, so having to fill time so much. But here we are back again, but 4 down for the Chiefs once more. So after a really strong start picking up those rockets, the Chiefs have done pretty much nothing since then. Divine Mind going on an absolute tear, picking up a 7-kill lead, but I think we've seen this before as well. These leads can flip very quickly as well back when we were on Slayer Aquarius. So Divine Mind, that'll be in the back of their Divine Minds, I guess you could say, pun intended, knowing that they can't take these leads for granted. 6 kills right now. Swayz has rockets in his hand with 1 more to spare. He's moving in a pretty dangerous area right now with those rockets, and I like that. Didn't want to waste one. Didn't even need to use the Stalker rifle at all then because the kill was picked up by his teammate, but now he can push in, pick up a tag there with the rocket, finish up on BZIIRK. He's using his Stalker rifle, killing Frenzy. How did we miss that, Justin? 10-1. Swayz has just been an absolute maniac this tournament.
Mate, we're going to have to hit the showers after because that was dirty, right? That was disgusting. And Swayz, there he is, just jiggle creaking that, not able to connect, but you could just tell the confidence. He was feeling good, looking good. And the scoreline, 11 kills for Swayz already. That's ridiculous. He's almost matching the Chiefs' performance as a 4-man team. You hate to see it. And, you know, Divine Minds, they're coming hot out of the gate.
Jeez, if the G2 guys are watching, maybe cancel Barcode's ticket and book one in the name of Swayz to send him over. If the rumors are true, it must be said, because that was some incredible play there. I think the only thing that stopped him from winning that peak, that jiggle peak fight then was the auto aim actually took over and made him shoot the player that was further behind him. But Swayz, he's loving this Stalker rifle, picking it up again and just going to absolute work with it. Didn't manage to pick up that second one there, but he's just putting in so much work. 12-3 here as we have a 9-kill lead for Divine Mind, looking to send the Chiefs down to the losers bracket.
Yeah, this is a very scrappy and interesting game so far, but the pace has been taken out of it, Hoots.
Yeah, it's happening in Aquarius as well.
And like Divine Minds, they had so much momentum. The Swayz is just putting up big numbers, but then the Chiefs, they changed the pace of the game. They're like, nah, boys, you know what? We don't like playing fast. That's no fun. Let's try slow. And the pace is just changed completely. But Rated scoops up that rockets. Uncontested, by the way, didn't take any damage, and here comes the collapse as well. They got 13 kills to play with. That's a pretty comfortable position to be in a game 5. 2 rockets to play with for Rated, trying to find those targets. He's got to connect on them. He's got one in the tube ready to go, connects with a bit of splash damage, not able to connect on the kill, and here comes the cleanup from the boys. The Divine Mind collapse comes through, taking two players for 0 of their own, playing perfect Halo at this point. 36-20, 16 kills, 17 kill lead. Divine Minds just playing out of their minds right now. Madsy having something to say about it though, with 1 rocket in hand and just making sure the map knows he's boss by shooting a rocket into it.
Yeah, 15 kill gap. I mean, look, the Chiefs did a good job then just to stay out of range of those rockets then, to be honest. Given the way that the Divine Mind guys were going, I thought that would be an easy at least 2 kill pickup with those rockets. Unfortunately, wasn't able to really pick up any at all. So they did a good job there, but this lead 17 kills now, and they're already at the 40 kill mark. Divine Mind, they are just racing, and when you've got Swayz going 18-3 and 5 assists as well, he's just putting in so much work right now. There's nothing they can do to stop him. Look at the collapse on Madsy there. We'll give Pip a bit of love here. He's on 7-6, putting in a nice back smack there on BZIIRK and just standing still here, just making sure on the death screen he can see him standing still. But these rockets popping in 30 seconds, and Divine Mind have just, you spoke about the pace going out, but they can just turn it on a whim when they want. Look at the push coming in here. BZIIRK, nice use of the nades there, but Swayz, meanwhile, I think is picking him straight back up. So a bit of a repayment there coming straight back. 10 seconds till these rockets are up, and look at the positioning Divine Mind are in to look at making a move on this. They're just waiting down here out the front of Tram, and Swayz just isn't missing shots, Justin. He had 25 kills in one of the matches earlier, I think it was. He's not going to be able to make that, but going 21-4 right now with the rockets. Double was on the cards, couldn't get the shot off. 1 one more kill though for Divine Mind to send the Chiefs to the losers bracket, and it's a double kill from Plasma and a stake, 50-29. Their second stake, I believe, was it? No, that was another thing. Sorry. My apologies for that. But just a dominant performance to close that out when we thought, I think, Luke, we'd see something a bit closer. It was a bit anticlimactic, to be honest. But the main point is Divine Mind go into our grand final and send Chiefs down to the losers bracket to take on Digital Nation. So some matchups we didn't really think we'd be seeing tonight, but that's where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how the cookie crumbles. Yeah. It's all about showing up on game day, and I think Divine Mind certainly have. And this is kind of circling back to what we said in that first series, right, Justin? We saw the way that Divine Mind were playing. They absolutely spanked everybody that they've played today. And it really does feel like that this last game was not an indicator of this entire series. It was such a tight series. This last Slayer, it kind of makes it look like it's blown out a little bit here, but I really do feel like that this Chiefs versus Divine Mind series, if we get another go at it, is going to be intense. It's going to be super insane between both these two teams, and potentially might have yet another bracket reset between both of these two squads. Mind you, last time that these guys did go head-to-head, it was a winners final that Divine Mind came out on top. It was a victory for the Chiefs overall. Yep. So that is a big caveat for us to look at. But that was also a grand final where I believe Barcode dropped 70 kills in like a strongholds or an oddball or something ridiculous like that.
Of course he did.
We're not going to have anything crazy like that. So,
I don't know.
Swayz might say something different.
True, mate. Yeah. Hoots and I, we finish each other's sentences. We're basically
doing this for so long.
And like, Swayz, 21 kills in a Slay game, squeeze me. That's ridiculous. Like, talking about steak-taculars, he almost like got one all on his own. He's just like, I'll have the 1 kilogram ribeye steak, please. Just slam it on the grill. Just ridiculous.
It really does seem like that he has stepped up quite a lot now, and I'm not quite sure what has really awakened that inside of him, but it really feels like he is popping off and playing a different level of Halo when it comes to the Slayers particularly. 25 in their previous series that we saw here on the main stage, now 21 kills in a Slayer on Streets. Just goes to show that Slayz seems to really step up when it comes to this kind of stuff, right? He really is kind of one of those players that seems to go towards the next level on these Slayers. But, I mean, I'm just excited to see what this Elimination Final brings us, right, Hoots? Because Chiefs, last time they went down into Elimination Finals, it was angry gaming. They were mad they were down there. And they came back and ruffle stomped everyone.